KF Tirana is an Albanian football club based in the country's capital city, Tirana. The men's football club is part of the multidisciplinary sports club SK Tirana, and is the most successful in Albania, having won 49 recognized major trophies. They play their home games at the Qemal Stafa Stadium and the Selman Stërmasi Stadium in Tirana, and they compete in Albania's highest tier of football, the Albanian Superliga. The club was founded on August 16, 1920 as Shoqata Sportive Agimi, which translates to the Agimi Sports Association, and they have since participated in all the top-tier national championships ever held in Albania, making them the only club in Albania to have never been relegated. They have competed under the name of SK Tirana between 1927 and 1947, before renaming to 17 Nëntori Tirana, Puna Tirana and KS 17 Nëntori, which was the name of the club until 1991 when it was divided into two branches, the multidisciplinary SK Tirana and the football branch of KF Tirana. KF Tirana is also the most successful Albanian team in European competitions, having progressed from the first rounds on 11 occasions since making their European debut in the 1965 Euro 66 European Cup. The club also holds the record of being the highest ever ranking Albanian club according to IFFHS, having been ranked 31st in the world in 1987, as a result of the success in their 1986-87 campaign. KF Tirana is also an ECA member. History: 1911 tournament, although still an unofficial even in Albanian footballing history. In 2012 historians revealed what is believed to be the first ever competitive football tournament in the country, which took place in Fire between the 7th and 14th April 1911. The tournament featured 8 teams and was played in a one-legged format, similar to that of other European competitions at the time. The city of Tirana was represented what is believed to be the predecessor of KF Tirana, and in their first game on April 7, 1991 against Elbasani they won 9-4 to progress to the semi-finals, where they defeated Kavajar 4-0 to reach the final. The final was held on April 14 and was contested between Tirana and Pekni, and ended 6-1 to Tirana, making them Albania's first ever champions, although this is still not officially recognized by the Albanian Football Association. Early years: on August 16, 1920, shortly after Tirana became the capital city of Albania, patriot and football enthusiast Palak Nika along with A. Arabara, P. Jakova, A. Oksa, Anastas Koja, P. Berisha, Avni Zajmi, H. Fortuzi, B. Pizarri, L. Berisha, S. Frasheri, H. Alizotti, A. Gitami and V. Fekci founded the Agimi Sports Association, who took its name from the Agimi building in the center of Tirana, where they would hold meetings near to. The club was formed as a multidisciplinary one, but the emphasis on football was far greater than that of other sports. In October of the same year the club played its first ever football match at Shalva in the center of Tirana against Juventus SHKODAR, which was a selection of players from Bashkimi Shkodran, modern-day Vllaznia SHKODAR. In 1925 the association's governing council was elected and its members were Avni Zajmi, Selman Stërmasi, B. Toptani, Irfan Janali and Anastas Koja. Shortly after in the same year, the club played its first international match against Yugoslav team Crnogorac from Montenegro. On August 16, 1927, which was the 7th anniversary of the formation of the Agimi Sports Association, Star Rmasi, Arabara, Zajmi and Koja changed the club's name to Sport Club Tirana, which would be commonly referred to as SK Tirana. Domestic dominance. With the formation of the Albanian Football Association on June 6, 1930 came the first officially recognized football competition held in Albania, which was the 1930 National Championship, of which SK Tirana had enrolled in. The clubs reached the championship final after winning 5 games, drawing 4 and losing just 1, to finish joint top along with SKA and Abelko Rapicavolt, albeit with a slightly better goal difference. The championship final games were due to be played on June 26 and July 6 respectively, but Skanderbelko Rapikovolt forfeited both games by refusing to play, which was a sign of protest against the bias of the competition and the Albanian Football Association towards the SK Tirana. The club were awarded both games 2-0, thus crowning them the first champions of Albania, whose winning team consisted of Rudolf Gurashi, Abdullah Sheri, Irfan Gjanali, Xhelal Kashari, Vasil Kajano, Gjon Sabati, Lazimir, Mark Gurashi, Biksade Joldashi, Shayat Ndroqi, Isuf Dashi, Adam Karapisi, Hisen Kusai, Mustafa Begoli, Hilmi Kozheva, Emil Hainali, Rekzet Morsectionai and Selman Stërmasi as player-manager. Morsectionai and Hainali were also won the inaugural Golden Boot for being the joint top goal scorers with 3 goals apiece. As multidisciplinary club, this was the second national championship that was won, as the athletics team had won the national championship a year earlier in 1929. The following season the club introduced former FINA Bahar Section E goalkeeper Vasfi Sami into the team, who had represented Sport Club Vlora the previous season, who also joined with other new players who were Subata Okyu, Muhammad Agoli and Halim Bajeja. The Albanian Football Association decided to alter the format of the championship as they divided the teams into 2 groups, with SK Tirana being placed in Group A along with Sport Club Vlora, and Bashkimi Shkodran. He played 4 games, winning 2, drawing 1 and losing 1, to finish top of the group level on points with Bashkimi Shkodran, but still won the group due to a superior goal difference. The club met Group B winners Qemal Stafa in the championship final, who they drew 1-1 at home at Shalva in a notable game. SK Tirana had opened the scoring and taken the lead through a Mark Gurashi goal, before Qemal Stafa's goalkeeper Niko Dovana instructed one of the forwards to cover for him in goal as he went to play as a forward, and with a shot on goal he scored and equalised. His goal led to mass media coverage, with many Albanian football fans fascinated by the sight of the goalkeeper playing as a forward and scoring. SK Tirana complained to the Albanian Football Association on the grounds that a registered goalkeeper cannot play as an outfield player, but these complaints were not heard and the second leg of the tie was played a week later on July 5, 1931 in Daras, which SK Tirana won comfortably 3-0 to win 4-1 on aggregate and to regain the national championship. The Albanian Football Association once again changed the format of the championship and opted for a 5-team league format, where every club would play each other twice and the winner would be decided by who finished top of the league, and not a championship final. SK Tirana went unbeaten throughout the season, with 5 wins and 3 draws to their name, including emphatic 6-0 wins over Urani Elbasan and Qemal respectively and a 9-2 away win once again against Urani Elbasan. The club were crowned Albanian champions for a 3rd consecutive season, which further cemented their place in history as the first club to dominate football in Albania. The 1933 national championship proved to be less fruitful for the club, as they missed out on a 4th consecutive title, finishing in a disappointing 3rd place out of 6, behind Bashkimi Shkodran and the winners Skanderbelko Rapikovolt. However, they bounced back firmly in the 1934 national championship, finishing 5 points ahead of runners-up Skanderbelko Rapikovolt in a 7-team format. They won a total of 10 games out of 12, which included 9-0 wins over Qemal and Bashkimi Elbasan respectively, as well as an 8-0 win over Sport Club Vlora, with Mark Gurashi being named the top goal scorer with 12 goals. The following year there was no official competition held by the Albanian Football Association, so only friendly games were played. In 1936 the national championship returned and SK Tirana regained their title with a 2-point difference between them and runners-up Vllazia Shkodar. The ethnic Albanian forward from Yugoslavia Riza Luskta was the top goal scorer with 11 goals scored in the campaign. The following season the club once again won the national championship, with Vllazia Shkodar coming in 2nd place, and Riza Luskta being named the top goal scorer, this time with a record 25 goals. This was the last pre-World War II competition held by the Albanian Football Association as there was no championship held in 1938 and World War II broke out in 1939. War period. In 1939, following the Italian invasion of Albania, a national football tournament was held which featured 8 of the country's best clubs at the time, of which SK Tirana was part of. Under the fascist rule of the Victor Emmanuel III, who was the king of the Albanian kingdom, sports activities in the country were revamped in order to mirror the systems in place in Italy. Giovanni Giro, who was a loyal trustee of the foreign minister Giulietto Sociano, was in charge of organizing the first football competition under Victor Emmanuel III, which was called Turnjar Kumbateri Futbolit Parundesjet e Trofeuta like Torret, which translates to the national tour of football for the matches of the Lictor Trophy. In the first round of the tournament, SK Tirana met Dragaj Pogradisi, who they defeated 7-0 in the first leg, with Zibalisi opening the scoring in the 7th minute before Name Kryatsa netted 5 goals in the 8th, 35th, 68th, 81st and 89th minutes, with Zibalisi finding the net once again in the 85th minute. SK Tirana's starting formation in the game consisted of previous championship winners Rudolf Gurashi, Slave Lambi, Foto Janku, Hassan Malua Section I, Hassan Bala, Zibalisi, Haki Kora Section A, Name Kryatsa and Mark Gurashi. They defeated Dragaj Pogradisi in the second leg to win 9-0 on aggregate and reached the semi-finals against Skanda Belkora Pikavolt, which was played on August 6, 1939. Mark Gurashi scored the opening goal of the game within 10 minutes, as SK Tirana went on to win 3-0 and reached the final against Vlasia SHKODAR on September 30. The final was played at the Shalva in Tirana, in the presence of many important figures in the National Fascist Party as well as important Albanian noblemen and figures which included Ekuriem Vlora, Alexander Ugzwavani, Anton Harapi, Dimitar Abarati and Karl Garakukai. The ruling fascist regime organized a similar competition the following year in 1940, this time in a group format where teams were divided into 2 groups based on geography location. 2 of the club's most important players who had come from Kosovo had left Albania for Italy to join Bari and Roma respectively. They met Vlasia SHKODAR on March 17 in a memorable game which ended in a 2-2 draw, and where the fans left the ground at Shalva following 2 stoppages due to players and staff fighting. The game had started positively with Skandek Janali opening the scoring in the 10th minute for Vlasia, following an assist by Frederick Shkjizi. Vasif Biasekshanaku then equalized 4 minutes later, before Zibalisi gave Sport Club Tirana the lead in the 40th minute from a Skander Bajejar cross. However, Vlasia leveled the scores just 60 seconds later through Metvasaja, following a combination of Mua Section KOXHJA, Loro Boria Section I and the goal scorer Vasaja. On March 31 they met Elbasani at Shalva in a thrilling game which saw the home side go 3-0 down through goals by Progri, Shayat Lama Section Jar and Kasapi in the 30th, 48th and 56th minute respectively. Sport Club Tirana then scored a free kick through Vasif Biasekshanaku in the 60th minute, to begin a comeback which saw 3 goals in 3 minutes, before Zibalisi scored the winner in the 85th minute. The rest of the campaign did not prove to be fruitful as Vlasia finished top of the group ahead of Sport Club Tirana, and reached the championship finals, where they defeated Skanda Belkora Pikavolt 11-1 on aggregate to win their first national championship, albeit one that is not recognized. There was no competition held in 1941, but on April 21 of the same year, the foreign ministers of Italy and Germany met in Vienna and concluded that most of Kosovo should join Albania to become what was known as the Kingdom of Albania under Victor Emmanuel III. In 1942 the national championship was held with the inclusion of 3 clubs from Kosovo, which were Prizreni, Pajar and KF Pristina. These clubs from Kosovo competed in the northern section along with the reigning champions Vlasia SHKODAR, and Sport Club Tirana competed in the new middle section group and the southern clubs competed in their own group. In a bizarre ruling, only players born between 1921 and 1925 were allowed to participate in the competition, meaning that only players between the ages of 17 and 22 were allowed to play. However, this rule was not followed by most clubs and senior players did participate in the competition. Another rule was that all participants had to be members of one of the youth fascist groups, but this was merely a formality as many players who were anti-fascist competed. Tirana defeated Elbasani 5-1 and drew 1-1 with Shoqata S to reach the semi-final against Prizreni, which was played in Tirana over 2 legs on 26th and 27th June. From 1939 to 1942, KF Tirana won 2 more national championships. However, despite being official, these trophies are still not added to Tirana's palmarès by AFA. Although these championships were played right after King's Cup was concluded and the 1942 championship had a massive nationwide participation, it's meaningless why AFA is still hesitating to add these events as well, considering the fact that AFA are the official organisers. The AFA finally made a decision in February 2013 that, according to them, although AFA admits that WWII championships have indeed been played correctly and rightfully, are not legitimate and won't be recognized since they weren't organized by the AFA, but by the fascist regime. 1944 Euro 1957, after the war, KF Tirana made a good start, reaching the second spot in 1945, after losing to Vlasia SHKODAR in the final. But soon the club would become a victim of the reigning communist regime in Albania. At the beginning of March 1946, at the National Movie Theatre in Tirana, as a result of instructions coming from the Communist Politburo, KF Tirana was forced to change its name to 17 Nëntori. The club was thus denied its own name. The following decade would unroll in the same suffocating atmosphere, becoming even heavier after the foundation of 2 system-privileged teams that would follow the experiences of their sisters in the former USSR, former Yugoslavia, and the other Eastern European countries. Partizani, the Defense Ministry team, and Dinamo, the Internal Affairs Ministry team. Dozens of Tirana Euro unregistered trademark S talented players were convinced, against their will, to play for either Partizani or Dinamo. As a result, 17 Nëntori struggled to stay at the top during the years 1947 Euro 1957. However, the team managed to gain some of the lost ground during the second part of the 50s after replacing in part some of the first-choice players of its lineup. 1958 Euro 1970, from 1958 to 1964 Tirana kept on producing some good football and finishing the championship almost always at the third spot. These years were a prelude to what was about to happen later. Tirana re-experienced its pre-war glory spell under the services of the unforgettable coach Limala. At the end of the 28th National Championship, Tirana became champions of Albania more than 20 years after their last title. Championship of 1966-67, the team repeated the success the year after, but this was an obvious challenge to Partizani's generals and Dinamo's Secret Service bosses. After having practically won the 1966 Euro 1967 title 3 matches in advance, Tirana was banned from the competition and the title was assigned to Dinamo. After this, Tirana won the championship 2 years in a row in style, losing only 2 matches in 1968 and only 1 during the 1969 Euro 1970 season. 1970s and 1980s, during the 70s Tirana struggled hard to stay at the top, the best result being the second place and the worst the 13th. Yet the club won the National Cup twice. The generation of older players came to the NPF their careers and this could only mark the end of a highly successful era. However, the unsuccessful spell would not last long this time. Tirana won the championship at the end of the 1981 Euro 1982 season, and they went on to win the title 3 other times during the 80s, in 1984 Euro 1985, 1987 Euro 1988, and 1988 Euro 1989 and the Albanian Cup in 1983, 1984, and 1986. The club was also successful in the European club competitions and many of the team players made up the core of the best Albania the country had ever had. 1990s and 2000s, during the first half of the 90s KF Tirana, likewise the whole Albanian society, went through a period of profound changes. Almost all the best Albanian players left the country and went abroad looking for a richer team who could hire them. But it seems that the club simply could not stand being too long from the leading spots. Thus at the end of the 1994 Euro 1995 season, KF Tirana once again won the championship 5 matches in advance with 12 points ahead of the second-placed team. During the recent years, Tirana has dominated the Albanian football by winning 10 out of the last 18 Albania's championships. Recent seasons and the present. Even though KF Tirana has dominated through the last 20 years, since 2006 club have displayed instability in management, which has also reflected in the results. Several factors have affected negatively the presentation, not only in the domestic competitions, but also the international appearances. KF Tirana's last solid dominating season was the one 2006-07, when the title was easily achieved. However, since failure in Champions League qualifications on that year, KF Tirana started an unstable performance. The season 2007 August found them in 6th spot, an unusual position for this team for last 18 years. Although Tirana won the title in 2008 September, it was a glow-less season. Other severe problems started again in 2009 October and season ended a total failure, gaining no trophies. White and Blues yet again didn't make a good start of the 2010-2011 domestic league, due to some controversies between the president and club chief, as well as unexplainable delays in paying players' salaries, which had a negative impact in the team. The continuous unpleasant results caused Tirana presidency changing coaches thrice in one season, starting with Selman Stërmasi, then Navildeed and finally Croatian Mia Okrstiajevaja. Contrary to the league, KF Tirana did well in the cup, winning the final against Dinamo Tirana by penalty shootouts, earning also the participation in Europa League for second time in a row. Late preparations, late new players' arrivals, even late new coach appointment gave the negative effects either in team consolidation, or poor performance in Europa League. Starting from 2nd qualifying round, having drawn goalless first match home, Tirana suffered a 1-3 away loss against Slovakian opponent FC Spartak Trnava and were therefore knocked out early from the competition. The 2011-2012 season started very well for now a consolidated Tirana. They added another trophy in their wealthy Palmas, the 9th Super Cup, by winning the final match against defending champions KF Skandabel Korapikavolt in Korapikavolt, with a single goal of Picking Bala. October 12, 2011 was another key event for club's future. The Municipality Council voted with unanimous consent the transformation of KF Tirana status to a shareholders association. Since then, the club is originally named as KF Tirana SHE. Municipality of Tirana will initially hold 100% of shares, however any future private sponsors or donors' approaches to share stock would always be welcome. White and Blues ended the league in the 3rd place, 5 points below crown champions KF Skandabel Korapikavolt, even though outstanding Spanish coach Julia N. Rubio had to recreate the squad twice, due to lack of players who left the club by late summer. Additionally, Tirana players and staff had to outface a temporary financial kink, caused from the latter club transformation to SHE, which had negative influence in the limited number of quality players which approached from the market. At majority of the season coach Rubio had severe difficulties and wasn't able to even to create a proper official squad for a match. Nonetheless, despite all difficulties faced, Tirana finally ended the season in the best possible way, earning 2 trophies out of 3, by also winning their 15th cup trophy. Tirana won the final against their fierce rivals of last 2 seasons KF Skandabel Korapikavolt, with Picking Bala becoming again the key scorer, netting the winning goal at 107 feet at extra time, since regular time ended goalless draw. The club could, however, get organised better for 2012-13 season, starting from Europa League participation. Even though having a healthy budget, club officials were too late to bring quality players on time, adding here the fact that they let go of main attacker, Picking Balaj for a funny transfer sum to AC Sparta Prague despite Balaj still had 6 months of contract left. Tirana managed to pass only 1 round in Europa League, eliminating CS Grevenmacher of Luxembourg, before being knocked out from Norwegians of Ålesunds FK in the 2nd round. Tirana won again the Super Cup, by beating on their third final clash KF SK under Belko Rapicavolt. Despite due to extend his link with Tirana for the following 2 seasons and continuing the project, the successful Spanish coach, Rubio, did not sign that contract officially, due to some clauses on which himself and the club did not agree, and eventually him and the club departed ways after over 13 months cooperation. Artur Likbello was appointed Tirana new coach, but despite his credits as a player in the past, he did not prove that successful as a coach and therefore presented his resignation to club administrator after only 42 days, following unpleasant results in Tirana's bench. Alban Tafaj once again took the vacant place as a temporary coach. On February 19, Tafaj withdrew to his original technical director post and Nabil Deed became Tirana coach for the second time in his career. With Deed in bench, Tirana ended the 2012-13 season in the 5th place, thus a total failure, considering neither trophy was won nor club earned the right to participate in Europe. Deed however extended his contract with the club for another 2 years, in order to take forward his project of activating mostly young players from youth academy and abroad. In the verge of the new season, Tirana transported from last year the financial problems, ungiven salaries and long-waiting failure of Tirana City Council to sell club assets. This situation went to the extreme and club was nearly starting Superliga with only 10 young players. But days before market was due to close, 3 businessmen approached for Tirana. NDRIA section Mbabasi, ex-donor Refik Halilai and Lulzim Marina. Unfortunately club was able to approach few players. New Tirana started to take shape, however last-moment approaches had their negative effect in results, as continuous losses caused Tirana president suspend coach Deed and temporarily replaced him with Alpin Gallo, who lasted only 5 matches. Tirana were also eliminated early from the cup. Gugash Magani, an experienced coach, was named instead. He stayed in duty even after changes at the club. With Magani as coach, Tirana started to win matches and finally made it, staying in Superliga and even ranked 6th in perhaps the worst season in club history. June 26 was a significant date for the football club, as Tirana City Council finally approved with 33 pro votes handling 66% of municipality assets to private sponsors for the next 18 years, giving them the green light to invest in players, stadium, training pitches, youth academy, etc. in order to create a stronger club after a lot of struggling past 5 years. Following this event and considering the fact that there was no European participation, club had all necessary time to organize well pre-seasonal preparations. Along with approaching the right players in the existing squad of last season and proper training project in Albania, a well-prepared pre-seasonal training was organized for over 3 weeks in Ohrid, playing friendlies there and consolidate team further. Such well-planned project had not been seen for many years, perhaps since El Sayed era. Crest and colors. The typical kit of the team is that of a shirt with white and blue vertical stripes, and blue or white shorts and socks. The shirt has taken different forms during the history of the club, for example with thin or wider stripes. The second most common kit is the all-white one with blue shorts. Stadiums. The home ground of KF Tirana is Selman Stërmasi Stadium, which is shared with city rivals Dinamo Tirana and Partizani Tirana. However, most derby and significant matches are played at the national team's Qemal Stafa Stadium. The stadium is also used if the Selman Stërmasi Stadium is unavailable, as it is used by 3 different teams. The club has expressed its desire to rebuild the current Selman Stërmasi Stadium into a modern complex with around 15,000 to 20,000 season. They want it to be Albania's first modern post-communism stadium without an athletic track around the field, which they hope will provide more atmosphere and attract more fans. However, it has not yet been decided when this will be built, but it is rumored to be the club's 100th anniversary present in 2020. Selman Stërmasi Stadium. KF Tirana plays most of its official and friendly games at the Selman Stërmasi Stadium in Tirana. The Selman Stërmasi Stadium was built in 1956 and was previously named the Dinamo Stadium till 1991, when it was permanently given its new name. the Football Association of Albania and the club decided to name the stadium post-mortem after the eminent KF Tirana player, coach and president, Selman Stërmasi. The stadium has a capacity of 12,500 and has recently ended a long phase of construction, involving development of the main pitch, central seated area, facilities around the ground and general lineaments. There are still improvements expected to be made soon, aside seated areas, an electronic clock and a KF Tirana shopping centre just under central seated. The internal facilities include a press conference room, journalists' corner and modern showers. The main parking area is located at the front of the stadium, which leads to the entrance. The whole external part of the stadium is surrounded by a 2.7 rail fence. Supporters. The supporters of KF Tirana are organized in Tirana Fanatics, a fan club started on January 8, 2006 and popular with football fans of KF Tirana. The name Tirana Fanatics was chosen because it is written in the dialect of Tirana. Tirana Fanatics are the most organized fan club, not only in Tirana but also in the country. They have a well-prepared agenda which is set in advance for either home or away club support, self-established funds, their own logo, all technical gear needed for every match and always express their serious dedication to KF Tirana emblem through ovations, slogans, songs, gestures and pyrotechnics with a high civilization, without violence and swearing towards opponent team players, staff or fans. The group has shown good support and preparations even beyond Albanian borders, in away matches such as in Trnava, Gravenmacha, etc. Tirana Fanatics are in close cooperation with Plizet of Pristina and Shvicerat of SHKUPI and have also attended in many Albanian national football team matches. Since creation, the fans' number has been in a constant increase and new members are recruited every week. Rivalries. Honours. KF Tirana are regarded as the Albania's top football team, having won domestic Albanian Superior League 27 times, a Euro 1911, 1930, 1931, 1932, 1934, 1936, 1937, 1939, 1942, 1964, a Euro 1965, 1965, a Euro 1966, 1968. 1969, a Euro 1970, 1981, a Euro 1982, 1984, a Euro 1985, 1987, a Euro 1988, 1988, a Euro 1989, 1994, a Euro 1995, 1995, a Euro 1996, 1996, a Euro 1997, 1998, a Euro 1999, 1999, a Euro 2000, 2002, a Euro 2003, 2003, a Euro 2004, 2004, a Euro 2005, 2006, a Euro 2007, 2008, a Euro 2009, runners-up 1945, 1959, 1967, 1971, a Euro 1972, 1975, a Euro 1976, 1978, a Euro 1979, 1979, a Euro 1980, 1983, a Euro 1984, 1993, a Euro 1994, 1997, a Euro 1998, 2000, a Euro 2001, 2001, a Euro 2002, 2005, a Euro 2006, Albanian Cup, 15 times, a Euro 1938, a Euro 39, 1963, 1976, 1977, 1983, 1984, 1986, 1994, 1996, 1999, 2001, 2002, 2006, 2011, 2012. Runners-up 1948, 1949, 1952, 1982, 1995, 2005, 2008, 2009, Albanian Super Cup, 10 times, a Euro 1994, 2000, 2002, 2003, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2009, 2011, 2012. Runners-up 1989, 2001, 2004, double, 2 times, 1996, 1999, Tour Section I Oil, 1 time, 2008, including the championships which are awaiting to be officially recognized from AFA. International, Balkans Cup, runners-up Euro 1981. Records, domestic, biggest ever home league victory, KF Tirana Euro KS Flamatari 11-0, biggest ever home league defeat, KF Tirana Euro KS Flazia 0-6, biggest ever away league victory, KF Elbasania Euro KF Tirana 2-9, biggest ever away league defeat, KS Bisa Euro KF Tirana 7-1, most league appearances, Elvis Shiner, most league goals, Indrat Fortuzzi, most points in a season, 84, least points in a season, 7, most wins in a season, 26, least wins in a season, 3, most ties in a season, 15, least ties in a season, 0, most losses in a season, 13, least losses in a season, 0, best goal differential, plus 66, worst goal differential, minus 5, Europe, biggest ever European home victory, KF Tirana Euroslima Wanderers 5-0, biggest ever European home defeat, KF Tirana Euro NK Croatia Zagreb 2-6, biggest ever European away victory, FC Gomola Euro KF Tirana 0-2, biggest ever European away defeat, Alsuns FK Euro KF Tirana 5-0, most European appearances, Elvis Shiner, most European goals, Indrat Fortuzzi, last 25 seasons, KF Tirana in Europe, in addition to being the best team in all domestic competitions, KF Tirana have also given the best performances in Europe among Albanian teams. Although Tirana have passed 11 times one European round, they have never gone further than that. However, White and Blues hold the all-time record for the highest IFFHS ranking of an Albanian football club, being ranked as high as 31st in the world in 1987, as result of success preceded 1986-87. In their European path, Tirana have played against big guns such as AFC Ajax, FC Bayern Munich, AC Milan, etc. Drawn against reputable teams such as FC Dinamo Bicure unregistered trademark T, Ferencvarosi TC, PFC CSKA Sofia, Stabæk KIF, FC Utrecht, NK Dinamo Zagreb, IFK Gar Paragraph Taborg, Malmö Paragraph FF, Standard Liège GE, etc. In several occasions, respectable European names such as FC Dinamo Bicure unregistered trademark T, FC Dinamo Tbilisi, Andi Gorica, NK Vartks, etc. have been eliminated from White and Blues. The best squad to compete in Europe was that of season 2004 May. After having easily passed FC Gomel of Belarus in the first round, Tirana played against Ferencvarosi TC in the second round. Having lost the first leg at home to a Euro 3, KF Tirana produced fantastic football in Budapest and was leading 1-0, after which the team missed a penalty and the ball hit woodwork twice, but they just could not score the qualifying goal and therefore were eliminated with a 3-3 on aggregate. KF Tirana friendly match for Social Initiative, KF Tirana vs AC Milan. On October 14, 2008, KF Tirana and AC Milan took part, for the first time ever, in the Tassi Oil Albania Reads project in Tirana. This new initiative had the goal to raise funds for the construction of new and modern libraries across Albania, a project launched by UNICEF. The proceeds of this event, sponsored by Tour Section I Oil, helped to create 100 new libraries in Albanian schools, whilst also driving forward the improvement in learning, teaching and reading standards in schools. KF Tirana won the match 2-1. World and European Rankings, UEFA Club Coefficient Ranking, as of October 21, 2013, source, Bert Cassier's website, IFFHS Europe Club Ranking of the 21st Century, as of January 29, 2013, source, IFFHS published January 29, 2013, IFFHS World Club Ranking of the last decade, January 1, 2001 December 31, 2011, source, IFFHS published March 21, 2012. IFFHS Europe Club Ranking of the Last Decade, January 1, 2001 Euro December 31, 2011. Source: IFFHS published March 21, 2012. Players. First team squad, as of November 23, 2014. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Current youth players with first-team experience, as of November 23, 2014. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. International players, out on loan. Note: flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Reserves and Academy. For the reserve and academy squads, see KF Tirana Reserves and Academy. KF Tirana B. Recently, KF Tirana have established their reserve team, which initially started to compete from the lowest category. Former players. For details on former players, see category, KF Tirana Players. Players. As of June 8, 2014, most goals. Below is a list of the 10 players with the most goals for KF Tirana, as of June 8, 2014. Managers, managerial record, current coaching staff, top scorers, Golden Foot, kit suppliers, KF Tirana sponsorship, presidents. KF Tirana has historically been managed and owned by one president. The only exception is during period of 2007 to Euro 2008. When the presidency was vacant and club was managed by a number of sponsors. KF Tirana has had numerous presidents over the course of its history, most of which have also been the owners of the club, whilst others have only been honorific presidents such as Bamir Topi and Fatmir Frasheri. The club has had a total of 13 presidents, in total from 1920 until the present day. The most successful president in history is considered to be the Egyptian millionaire Metwali El Sayed, who was president of the club during the period 1999 to Euro 2004. The president who has had the longest management over the club has been Selman Stërmasi, who was owner and president from 1936 until 1960, whilst the president with the shortest management has been Fatmir Frasheri, who only lasted a single year from 2004 to Euro 2005. Below is the official presidential history of KF Tirana, from when the club was formed, until the present day. List of presidents, KF Tirana. Statistics in Albanian Superliga. Since the Categoria Superior began in 1930, KF Tirana have played 1784 Superliga matches, scored 30-21 goals and conceded 16-14. The club has collected so far 26-28 points, won 938 games, drawn 456 and lost 390. The club's goal difference is plus 1407 and the winning difference is plus 548. Data correct up to the end of the 2013 Euro 14 season. See also, KF Tirana. Statistics in Albanian Superliga. KF Tirana's champions, 4 times or more. See also, Albanian clubs in European football. References. External links. KF Tirana at uefa.com